Breaking news on the Celtics. Contract offer. Plus trade talks? Remember when many people believed that Guerschon Yabusele's story of redemption would be one of those beautiful tales of the season, the ones that the NBA loves to sell as an example of overcoming? Well, reality hit hard. The same player who enchanted the world at the Paris Olympics in 2024, who returned to the NBA with morale after a solid season in Philadelphia, and who signed a 2-year contract with the New York Knicks, today lives a completely different scenario. And that's exactly what we need to talk about calmly, because this story says much more about the league, about context, about fit, than just about cold statistical numbers. Before delving deeper into the subject, take advantage of this initial moment and sign up here for the Celtics Talk Show. We are very close to the goal of 1,000 subscribers, and reaching that number changes everything for us. It helps the channel grow, reach more Celtics fans, and most importantly, allows us to continue bringing daily content, deeper analyses, and complete coverage of the team. So, if you enjoy talking about the Celtics with someone who really follows the day-to-day life of the NBA, subscribe now, leave a like, and activate the bell so you don't miss anything. This makes a huge difference. Returning to Yabusele, the contrast is brutal. In less than 6 months, he went from an Olympic hero to a player completely out of the rotation, the kind you see in the box score with DNP coach's decision, and you need to check twice to be sure. According to New York press reports, the Knicks are already talking to other teams trying to find a trade. And when a player starts to be offered like this, just a few weeks before the trade deadline, the sign is clear. The plan didn't work. And when we look at his numbers in New York, it's difficult to even argue against this decision. Yabusele is averaging very low averages, just under 3 points per game, around 2 rebounds, and playing less than 10 minutes per game. That's in almost 40 games. He's not a player who's trying to find himself. He's someone who simply couldn't find space. For someone coming off a season in which they delivered more than 11 points per game, with physical presence, good defense, and constant energy in Philadelphia, this drop is heavy. It's the kind of turnaround that the NBA provides without asking for permission. And here comes a point that makes this story even more interesting: the context of the Knicks. We're not talking about a team that's rebuilding, full of young guys trying to prove themselves. We are talking about a team that sees itself as a real candidate for the title, which entered the season with a now or never mentality. When New York signed Yabusele, the idea was not to develop players. The idea was to have someone ready to contribute immediately, defend multiple positions, space the court when possible, and bring intensity from the bench. None of this was consolidated. Now, it is impossible to talk about this situation without pulling the timeline back to Boston. The Celtics selected Yabusele in the 2016 draft, a first-round pick, with real expectations. The idea was to develop a power forward who could space the court and defend. But his time in Boston was short and uneventful. Few games, few minutes, and no real chance of establishing themselves. At that time, it was clear that the fit didn't happen, and the Celtics moved on. What many people wouldn't do at that time, Yabusele did. He went to Europe and reinvented himself. At Real Madrid, he became another player, more disciplined, more tactically aware, more efficient. He became a true rotation player at a high European level, playing in one of the most competitive leagues outside the NBA. This period was essential for his maturity as an athlete. The explosion came at the Paris Olympics. Playing for France, Yabusele showed the world a package that many people didn't remember he had: physical strength, explosiveness, defensive reading, and confidence. This reignited the NBA's interest. Philadelphia took a gamble, offered a short, prove-your-worth contract, and he proved it. He played well, started games, fulfilled his role without needing the ball all the time. He was exactly the type of player that coaches love. That performance opened the door to a contract with the Knicks. 2 years, $11 million. Nothing crazy, but solid money for a rotation player entering the most mature phase of his career. It seemed like the next logical step, but the NBA is not logical. It is circumstantial. Now, looking ahead, comes the point that interests us most here at the Celtics Talk Show. Yabusele's contract is extremely negotiable. Low value, short duration, still interesting age. For teams that need depth in the front court, it becomes a minimal risk bet. And yes, inevitably, the Boston Celtics name comes up in this type of conversation. Boston today is a team ready to fight for the title, but it's also a team that needs to think about depth, especially considering Kristaps Porzingis' physical history and Al Horford's age. The Celtics know Yabusele better than almost any other franchise. Brad Stevens saw his initial version up close, but also followed his evolution from a distance. It wouldn't be unreasonable to imagine Boston evaluating this possibility, especially if the cost is low. But it's not just the Celtics. Other teams may also see value in him, especially teams that offer more minutes and a less rigid system. Sometimes all a player needs is context. The NBA is full of examples like this. Players who failed in one place and flourished in another simply because someone believed and gave them space. This story serves as a harsh reminder of how ruthless the league can be. Talent is not enough. It's not enough to work hard. Fit, timing, and opportunity weigh as much as any technical skill. Yabusele did almost everything right after leaving the NBA the first time. He rebuilt his career, came back with morale, delivered when he had the chance. Still, he found himself on the sidelines again. And now the next few weeks are decisive. A trade could represent the salvation of this second stint in the NBA or the beginning of the road back to Europe. For the Knicks, it makes perfect sense to try to regain some value. For the player, it is another bet on his career. And I want to hear from you. Where do you think Yabusele would best fit today? Do you think the Celtics should consider such a reunion? Or do you believe that the best thing for him is to look for a team with less pressure and more minutes? Leave your opinion in the comments because this type of debate really strengthens our community here on the channel. And before continuing with the video, I reinforce you once again, sign up for the Celtics Talk Show. We are very close to 1,000 subscribers, and reaching this goal helps the channel more than you can imagine. It helps with reach, helps with credibility, and allows us to continue bringing this type of content with analysis, context, and opinion from fan to fan. Leave a like, activate the bell, and stay with us, because this trade deadline is promising, and the Celtics could be involved in moves that will change the course of the season. And to close this video the way this story deserves, one thing is very clear. The NBA does not forgive. Today, you are an Olympic hero. Tomorrow, you are out of the rotation. One day, you are an important part of a competitive team. The next, you are being offered trade calls. And the Yabusele case reveals exactly that. It's not just about talent. It's about being in the right place, at the right time, with the right system. The question that remains is simple but heavy. Who will be the next team to see what the Knicks were unable to use? And now I want you to think with me. If the Celtics end up involved in this scenario, whether it's adding depth to the roster or just watching from afar, you need to be one step ahead. Because when the bomb goes off, those who understand the context are not surprised. They just connect the dots. And that's exactly what our Celtics Analytics playlist exists for. In the pinned comment, you have direct access to this playlist. There we break down numbers, fits, tactical impact, squad reading, and everything that normally goes unnoticed in fast news. If you want to understand the Celtics beyond the headline, beyond the breaking news, this is the content that will raise your level as a fan. Click on the pinned comment. Enter the Celtics Analytics playlist and marathon, because that detail that decides a title is almost always there. And don't forget, sign up for the Celtics Talk Show now. The goal of 1,000 subscribers is very close, and reaching this number changes the game for us. It helps the channel grow, reach more Celtics fans, and continue to bring in-depth, direct, and no-nonsense content. Leave a like, activate the bell, and stay with us, because this season will still have a lot of twists and turns. And here you will find out everything the right way.